So, hi, Jeannie. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, last week we discussed your intake. We went over your family history. We did an in-depth genogram, um, looking at the relationships in your family. And
Right.
I just wanted to review. I'm looking here at it, and I see that you there looks like a pattern of like some functional eating disorders going around up through the female in your family.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, and I see there is some drug use by your ex-husband, and it looks like some alcoholism runs in that side, in his side of the family.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Sometimes when I think about it, my mother did a lot of diet pills when she was younger.
Gotcha. And yeah, that's indicated here
Oh,
too that
yeah.
she had some problems. So how was your weekend?
Well, it was good up until I had a little argument with my daughter.
What was that about?
I saw my granddaughter. I mean, she was eating a lot.
How old is she?
5.
5.
Oh, and I know when I took her to the doctor, she was 3 pounds overweight. Not that that's anything, but he did mention it. And like she ate so many things within less than an hour, and I went, Sky.
And what did your daughter say?
Well, she didn't want me to, make her feel uncomfortable about it.
Gotcha.
I think she would have had me, react differently.
And how? Now you said that you think your mother had an eating disorder.
Oh, well, absolutely, yes.
What gave you clues to that?
Oh, she was always worried about her weight, what she looked like, and overeating. And I mean, the first thing out of her mouth is, "Did you lose any weight? What'd you eat today?" I mean, it was an obsession.
An obsession. Now, did your sister struggle with any of that?
My sister really didn't in the beginning. My sister was very, she had a nice shape up until maybe she had her son, which was probably 32. And then she gained weight. But, I think the important part of her life, she was slender and looked nice.
Gotcha. Now, how does your struggle with weight compare to your mother's struggle?
Well, I think as I got older, I don't struggle as much. I'm kind of, I kind of I was accepting it better than my mother. My mother that was her main focus. Main focus.
Was her weight? Do you think that your battle was a lot different than hers, being that she was older than you and women were?
It was different than mine because I could enjoy myself and not always be so worried about it. But the minute I saw her or talked to her on the phone, did you lose anything? I mean, that was it. That was the conversation.
And you felt like your worth was based on?
Felt like, yeah, I mean, no, I didn't want to talk about it. But
Did this affect any of the relationships you had with
probably,
men?
I think so. My first husband, I think that I felt like maybe I wasn't a beauty because of my weight, and I settled for somebody who wasn't that nice.
Let's see. Now, how would you say how are your daughters in regard to this?
Well, Linda is whatever she is, it doesn't matter to her. She's good with herself.
But was she always like that?
No, she had drama when she was probably in seventh, eighth. She had bulimia. It frightened me when I learned that she had bulimia.
And how did, do you take any accountability for having her having those issues?
Well, I have to take accountability for something. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember feeling her uncomfortable about eating, making her feel uncomfortable about eating. I know she did get sick once and lost a lot of weight, and everybody, and myself included, was commenting how beautiful she looked.
I see.
I mean, but she did. She did not that she didn't look beautiful before, but it was, you noticed the difference.
I see. Now, how are your relationships with your daughter? Your daughters, I see
The
you have
daughters.
two,
Well,
years apart.
I think they're both different, and Jennifer is a little more easygoing, and Linda does a lot. Well, Linda has more of a burden on her than Jennifer, so she's a little more uptight a lot,
I
and
see.
it's harder for her. Jennifer has a lot of help.
And now, how is the relationship between your daughters and their father?
Oh, I think that's non-existent at this point. You know, I used to always like to keep in touch with him just so that he could see his daughters and his grandchildren, whatever. Would you like to hear about Daytona Beach?
Oh, sure, sure, please tell me.
Well, about a year and a half ago, I took Jennifer and the kids. I have a timeshare in Daytona, and her father was living up there. He's a junkie, and but he wanted to see his grandkids, so he couldn't get a ride. So I said, "Where do you live?" And he gave me the address, and I went to pick him up. He looked, you know, like a skeleton. He was, you know, back into them pretty heavy, I guess. So we go over to my place, which was only about 2 miles away, and Jennifer gets out of the pool, and he said, "Oh boy, I see you put on weight." First thing out of his mouth.
Wow.
I mean, it was like, oh my God. I said, "Is that what you have to say to your daughter after not seeing her for 2 years?" And, you know, she was, and he goes, "Well, I guess I'm not educated." He started talking like the fool that he is. "I guess I'm not educated like you guys. Maybe I should go home." And at that point, we weren't there 2 minutes. I said, "Yeah, I think you better go home." And I took him right home, and we haven't heard from him. I haven't heard from him. I've heard from him, but I'm not responding to him because that's enough now.
That's enough. And
You know?
are both daughters at the,
At that
emotionally
point,
cut off from
yeah,
them?
well, Linda was cut off before, but I used to push her, you know, come on, let him see his grandkids, you know, like, because she gave up on him a long time ago. And Jennifer, she always kept trying, but now she's done.
I see, I see. So it's, and how are they coping with that? Do you think they do that to help just get?
I think they do fine with it. You know, you never know. But I mean, I think, of course, either one of them would have liked to have had a grandfather relationship with their children. I mean, a good one, not anyone.
I see. And so tell me about how this criticizing or you're pointing out to your niece or your granddaughter that she's, eating too much or you're picking on her. Tell me, what other ways do you think that you could have, are there any other ways that you think you could have dealt with that rather than pointing out that she's eating all the time?
Well, you know, I think I could have tried maybe to give her something that would be better for her. Although I'm not sure she would have liked it, but maybe I would have been able to, reason with her. Like, honey, I don't want to see you eat all that in that short of a time. We're going to have dinner soon, something like that.
Or how about, you could encourage, instead of reacting that way, try to say to her, you know what, why don't we go out and walk around the block, take the dogs for a walk, and then come back and say, have a healthy snack. Don't give her an option, or perhaps give her an option between two healthier snacks, some pretzels, and don't give her the whole bag.
Yeah.
Give her a little portion, and then just try to redirect her maybe to color. Sometimes kids do that things out of being bored, but
Yes.
I could, empathize with your daughter being, upset about not wanting to be the focus.
Right.
Girls are under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, they are.
As it is. And boys too.
Yeah. You don't think boys, but boys too.
And it's going to be something that affects them all the time. So, do you, how do you feel, when you see somebody like that you haven't seen in a while? What is your focus when you see somebody that you haven't seen for a while? Is it their appearance? Is it how successful they are? What is it that you notice?
That's kind of tough because I do look at them and I do look at their appearance. I'm sorry, but I do.
So the first thing out of your eyes
that's
is like, oh.
That's the first thing I see. You either look good or you look old or you look,
And how would you start off a conversation with somebody that you haven't seen in a while?
I wouldn't say that like that. So, like, "Oh, how you doing? It's so nice to see you. I haven't seen you in so long."
Or how about if you saw somebody who had recently lost some weight? Is that the first thing you're going to point out or you'll notice?
I think it's hard not to notice. A friend of mine lost 125 pounds, and we went to this little party the other night, and you couldn't help but notice.
But on the same token, you would tell that person, wow, you look so good, you look thin.
I did, yes.
But but on the other side of that, are you going to turn around if you haven't seen somebody who gained 50 pounds?
No, that I wouldn't do.
No.
Like, why did you gain? No, I wouldn't do that.
So being thin is a compliment and being fat is an insult.
But no. I also picked up a friend of mine the other day and took him to the hospital. He needed to have a procedure done. And he asked me not to take my Mustang because he couldn't get in the Mustang. And I took my daughter's minivan. And when he got in my minivan, he was exhausted, as if he had done something really. And I said, "Oh, now that I didn't look at him as being overweight. I looked at him as feeling sorry for him that
I
you
see.
let yourself get there."
I see. Now, do you think that you think that your concern for your daughter, your granddaughter, is normal? That do you do that with your grandsons?
Well, I did. I did with my older grandsons, but they get to the teenage point where they want to eat what they want to eat, and in a sense, I almost think that when people are ready, they'll slow down.
I see. Yes.
You don't want to be nagged, right?
Yeah. Well, I can see how that would be frustrating to somebody to be nagged, or to be, or to have to justify every time they are in the refrigerator. There comes a time at which they need to be, they need to be redirected, and they need to make their own decisions. How about when when you go out to eat with your friends, or is it, explain your relationship with food to me, like in your whole family, like do you?
I think everything was surrounded by food. Every event we have is surrounded by food, and we were always trying to have as much as we can. Never let anybody leave your house hungry, and always very flavorful with butter and garlic and oil.
And at the same token, you have your family talking about, you do everything surrounded by food, and let's talk about, how much weight we lost, or how we're gonna,
Well, how we'll start tomorrow.
how we'll start tomorrow.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Would you like me to put the dog away?
please, please. Thank you.
You can stay here. I'm sorry.
So, if you could just look at the genogram here, and tell me if this is correct.
Don't you think that being fat?
So, so is everything correct here? Do
You
I have
could
the
see-
relationships right? It
yes.
looks like you have a strong bond with your daughters.
Yes.
It looks like there was some emotional kind of, abuse going on between you and your ex-husband.
Oh, yes, yes.
How would you explain that emotional abuse? What would he?
Well, I think because he was a drug addict, he always used to like to point out your weaknesses, and one of them was eating. So, he would always focus on my being overweight, or eating something, or maybe putting something on that he didn't think was right for me, which tried to take me off the focus of his addiction.
I see.
I've learned that now, though, but at that time, it was very traumatic for me to deal with that.
Gotcha. And you said that you don't have any more contact with him so much anymore.
No, but if I did, he would never be able to affect me anymore.
Okay, I see. So when you look at somebody, when you think about your granddaughter possibly being overweight, what kind of feelings does that bring you back to you being a child, or how you felt?
Well, I was pretty good until I was in about 5th grade, and then I started taking the abuse, and it wasn't nice. It made you feel bad and self-conscious. It wasn't nice. So I don't want her to be there. I want her to be one of those girls that is well-rounded with what she eats, and physical, and she does do gymnastics and cheer, which is good.
I see. I can understand how, it's concerning to you that, your granddaughter being, not fitting in, with the crowd when she gets
Being
older.
fat affects you. It changes your person. It makes your personality a certain way. I got it from my mother. I mean, I know my children got it from me, and I don't really want to pass that on.
I can understand your concerns about that. It's not easy growing up in general, and, to add another, possible obstacle to you, you know,
Right.
to somebody. You know, obviously we want to see everybody, you know, but growing up isn't easy. It's hard, and you know, we have to face some adversity when we grow up, and you know, it is all about healthy habits and trying to and healthy relationships, whether it's a relationship with your family or a relationship with food. So how about, you know, like for homework for, you know, next week, you know, when your granddaughter, you see her, you know, hitting the fridge again or eating a snack, you know, let's redirect her. Take the dog out for a walk.
Right. I'm gonna say let's go around the block for a walk. Absolutely.
You know,
I could use it too.
and do you think that's something that, you know, she would be open to? Is she easily distracted by things like that? Or
No, she would. She would definitely go for a walk. Matter of fact, she could take her scooter. You
gotcha.
know, we could. She would definitely go.
So, you know, I feel as though you know, you realize that you do this,
Yes.
and you want to make a difference.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to, you know, have
Love
continue to-
herself.
You want her to love herself, and you know, because you know when kids are young, you know, they're so open to, you know, loving everybody, and it's only
Right.
later on, you know, they start to get hurt, and it hurts you to watch them hurt.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
You know, so what I understand from you is that you know you don't want to be critical of her. So
Right.
this week we're gonna, you know, go back home and try to try new techniques to get the focus off the food and redirect them into doing something else.
Yes. That's a good idea. I'm definitely gonna do that.
Okay, so we will see you next week, and I hope that you'll do your homework and we'll have a better
will.
week this week.
You'll be proud of me,
Okay.
Miss Lindsay.
All right. All right.